views and opinions expressed in this program are those of the participants and do not necessarily reflect the views of BronxNet or the program underwriters.
Hello and welcome to Bella's Fashionistas Home Edition. I am your host, Flores Urbello. It is a pleasure to have you join us this afternoon. We trust that you and your loved ones are well and staying safe. In today's fireside chat conversation, we welcome speaker, coach, best-selling author, and the president of Borja Consulting Group, a company that provides small businesses with training, planning, and strategy services to small businesses. Please join me in welcoming speaker, coach, best-selling author, and the president of Borja Consulting Group, Dr. Jairo Borja. Dr. Borja, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
Now, Jairo, could you tell us more about what it is that you do with your company?
Basically, with Borja Consulting Group, my job is I help small businesses with their small business planning, which means from their inception to the business plan, all the way up until if they want to apply for funding or if they want to just plan their business out 3 years, 5 years out. I help them with structure from start to finish. If they're looking to get funding, I'll point them in the right direction as far as helping them with some of my partners as far as lenders, and also from a marketing standpoint. I have my doctorate in marketing, and of course, any way, shape that I could help them from a marketing standpoint, I could help them with that as far as guiding them, whether it's using the right softwares such as a Mailchimp or Zoom or a HubSpot, or even as sophisticated as using social media to leverage their business. So that's basically what I do. I also promoting my book, Networking Way to Success, to entrepreneurs and working professionals, and I was doing that on site, and now I'm doing things virtually. So I'm doing, so that's what I'm doing. So thank you.
Could you tell us the additional stuff that you do aside from business coaching and being a speaker and also working with students as a professor, everyone he teaches?
I do.
Can you tell us about the financial planning that you also do?
Absolutely. I'm also a financial services professional with Primary Financial. So what we do is we assist small businesses and families and individuals with full-fledged financial planning. So at least most of the people in my office, we take a whole, what we call a holistic approach. We look at everything from what we have, what the family or individual or business has in protection, what they have in savings, what they have in growth, what they have in debt, and their cash flows. And based off the information that they give us, we provide them with a deliverable, with a full-fledged financial plan based on their goals, whether they want to save for retirement, save for a house, save for a car, save for college, estate planning. We help them with their financial needs. So I do that. I am an instructor with Long Island Business Institute as well, and with ASA College as well. I teach their business courses. So right now I'm teaching Introduction to Business. I'm teaching business communication, and I'm also teaching principles of marketing. So yes, and I gave them a lot of my experience that I've gotten throughout the 10, 15 years, and I apply it, and I let them know, it's value added for sure, experience for them.
How can students build their network through this new era of COVID through LinkedIn?
A couple of things. So, of course, as we discussed earlier, they should have their profile up to date, whether it's their professional photo, have their summary intact, have their experience intact, any volunteer experience have intact, any endorsements or skills have intact, any recommendations have intact. And that's like the house, right? You have to have your infrastructure, and then you go for the plumbing and the sheetrock. And then once that's all said and done, you could join groups related to your major, join groups related to your college or university. You could also On top of that, you could connect through those groups with other alum. That's also another resource or way to expand your network. Also, if you're already in a group, such as a Prosponica or a Alpha, join that school group. And then also you should join Prosponica or a group like that as well to expand your network. A little exercise that I want to discuss with you right now is something that we do on the financial side is they call it the Project 100, which what a lot of students can do is just connect with 100 people per se, right? And then you could apply to certain jobs, for example. And then let's say if I'm Clarissa, if you know the job, whoever posted that job, right? You could ask for an introduction, similar to what I did with you earlier today. And if you do that, even with 3 people, or even 5 people, right? 3 times 5, you have 15 new connections with recruiters that you could potentially target. So that's definitely a great way for you to build your network.
What kind of tips can you give us a way that they could start off by doing that?
Yeah, the easiest way would be just reach out to their friends and their loved ones or family members. Even if they're uncomfortable to even speaking to a professor, I would even say do that. Like say, hey, cuz, for example, I don't know, just making something up. For example, hey, can you introduce me to this person? I know he's in advertising. Maybe perhaps you could help me out. So I would even start that way. Start with your close friends and family. I would even take it be above and beyond, even use that same exercise and do it on Instagram or even Facebook. And trust me, you're going to go from 100 to 300, 300 to 600, even by doing that. So I would say, even say close, just use your friends and family. If you're uncomfortable with your instructors or you're uncomfortable with your peers, I would even start there, because trust me, I know that someone in your family, Clarissa, could help me in one way, shape, or form with the proper introduction, for example. So I would do that.
How can someone make an impression virtually after going with the steps of creating the LinkedIn account, having a professional picture, updating their profile to be very acceptable on LinkedIn? How can they make an impression when reaching out to someone virtually?
No, they could simply make the introduction virtually, and of course, everything that I mentioned earlier, ensuring that their experience, that their profile, everything is up to date. If they posted any articles, make sure that's up to date. Any volunteer experience, for sure, posted up to date. Anything that says any any leadership qualities, whether it's volunteering or whether it's through um, or whether it's through school or whether it's through work, I would of course do that. So that's how you make the impression. The part 1 is just the introduction, similar to the strategy that I just shared. But step 2 is the impression through the actual profile, and then making that connection to ensuring that your profile is up to date, and then from there asking for an introduction at that point.
Very nice. Thank you so much for those tips.
No
That's
problem.
very interesting.
No problem.
I know that it could be a little bit scary for a student, right? Especially if they're introvert, right?
Yeah, absolutely. It's easy for you or for myself, but it's for an introvert, it's very difficult to do that. But as I said before, I think if you would just start with your immediate friends and family on LinkedIn, or even take it a step further, even to Facebook or Instagram, trust me, you will grow your network for sure.
We will take a quick break, and when we return, Dr. Borja will provide additional tips on how you can land your next opportunity. Don't go anywhere.
TV news, radio reports, and newspaper headlines in the 1970s and 80s misrepresented communities in the borough of the Bronx. Then, something transformative happened. By, for, and about the Bronx, BronxNet was born.
We are BronxNet!
BronxNet provides media education,
opening the doors to competitive careers in the media industry
for thousands of students in middle school,
high school,
and college.
BronxNet.
In this war, we must plan forward for the next battle. The next battle is the apex. The next battle is on the top of the mountain. And that's what we're planning for every day. The number of testing has increased. The more you test, the more good you're doing. Change in number of discharged, line is going up. Why? More people going in, more people treated, more people coming out. We will be at a different place. Our challenge is to make sure that transformation and that change is positive and not negative. Let's make sure we're taking the positive lesson and not the negative lesson. Do you get up smarter? Do you get up wiser? Or do you get up bitter? Do you get up angry? We are in control of that. And we have to start to think about that. And we also have to be smarter from what we went through.
Well, I got this as a paid internship. Spending my time here, I really enjoyed the people that work here. I enjoy what goes on behind the scenes.
So far, I've learned how to operate a camera, how to host, I learned how to control audio.
My first time hosting was really nerve-wracking, but I really enjoyed it because it was a new experience.
We built a media network for you.
BronxNet TV.
Come learn in your new state-of-the-art studios at Lehman College.
At Mercy College.
And coming soon to the South Bronx in the Hub.
Inspire with your stories, culture, history.
Your Bronx on BronxNet.
Engage with us.
Connect with us at your channels and at BronxNet.tv.
Learn, engage, inspire. BronxNet TV.
From the Bronx
to the world.
BronxNet.
Welcome back, Jairo.
Yes.
I know that once a student was able to make the connection and send the email to their prospective person who they want to network with, someone that they have been searching because they want to be able to not only make new friends, but know someone in the industry that they would like to pursue a career in. What happens after they make that connection? What can you advise us on how students can maintain that relationship virtually?
So once they make the introduction, once the person accepts them, when they say, hey, nice to meet you, let's set up a time. So I would set up a time and then ensure that it works for both parties. And I would also, if it's a Zoom meeting, just make sure, and if you're doing a video chat, if you can minimize the background noise, try to do that, but also be on time. Just because it's not physical, just because you're not traveling on the train and traveling actually somewhere, I would say still be on time, because the worst thing you could do is set up a meeting and not be on time. So for sure, I would just follow through whatever instructions you guys agree upon. If it's a phone call, just make sure you call on time. If it's a video chat, just make sure you're on time and make sure you minimize background and make sure everything is all set from there. So for sure, that's the next up. That's the follow-up.
Can you give us an example on how someone could blow it?
Be late or just forget altogether. Those are ways they could blow it, or just like ensuring, or for example, like even if we're doing a video chat like this or a video virtual interview like this and just not being dressed appropriate. I know it's very challenging at these times to not dress appropriate, but I would dress as if I was going to physically go somewhere, right? Because the worst thing I do is if I get up and I'm in my shorts, that's really unprofessional. So that's, you just have to have that same mindset physically as you was going to go somewhere as virtual. So for sure.
So how long should they wait in order to hear a response from anyone that they make the connection with?
Let's say they set up the informational interview or meeting of some sort, and then once they have the meeting, I would try to follow up with the thank you note, similar to how you would do a traditional interview. And I would wait a few days. I would wait, 48, 72 hours. I wouldn't wait too long, but I wouldn't have it wait a week or out, because that's a little too much time. So I would say 48 to 72 hours, a couple of days post the informational interview or post the interview. I think it's fine, as long as you send a note, thank you note, or a note thanking them for the opportunity.
What can you recommend them to do after that, so that they won't sit in one person only, but also be able to do this with multiple people?
Yeah, I would suggest apply to the positions, virtually through LinkedIn or through Indeed or through whatever specific site, depending on their major. And then on top of that, I would also, if possible, for some of the positions that they apply, take a note. Sometimes you could see who's a job poster, and then you could see who's connected to that job poster, and then from there you could kind of connect the dots and kind of make an introduction. see if you can get an introduction from there.
What are some of the conversation topics or direction that they could be able to take place when they're just making a connection?
Yes, good question. So basically, it all depends. So if it's for a job, it's for a job. I always say, someone told me one time, every meeting has a purpose. So whether it's for a job, or whether it's for business or for lead or for introduction, so every meeting has a purpose. So I guess it would all depend on the goal of the individual. So for example, if it's for a job, then of course you would try to connect with apply to certain roles and see who posts that role, so your resume can at least be at the top of the pile or be considered. If it's for leads, I would try to connect with different individuals in certain markets and I would go through my network to see if they can make those introductions for me to then follow up with some sort of Zoom meeting or phone call. If it's for let's say for what we do here for future interviews, it'll be the same thing. So if I wanted to interview dentists, so I would try to see who's connected to dentists from there, and then I would try to get that introduction to see if I could interview dentists for for my podcast of some type. So I guess it would all depend on the goal, whether it's looking for a job, looking for leads, looking to do interviews, whatever whatever your goals may be. So that was my approach. That's what I would do.
Can you give us an example, Dr. Borja, when you were able to,
Yeah.
when you started?
Yeah. No. Yes, absolutely.
How did you network?
Through trial and error. I didn't read a book or anything. I made some mistakes myself. So hopefully the purpose of the book, the purpose of me being on the show, is to educate individuals to hopefully not make the same mistakes that I did early in my career. But basically, a prime example is, for one of my roles as instructor, I reached out to the individual. I applied online. I reached out to the individual, say, hey, I'm very interested in this role. Long story short, she knew my credentials, she knew my background, she knew my history, she knew the importance of me branding. I know you're big on branding, so she knew my history of branding all over LinkedIn, have seen my videos, have seen my pictures, and I was able to leverage an interview. And I did a live, I guess, I don't want to call it, a classroom style interview, and I was able to obtain the professor role, instructor role. So that's a prime example of how networking worked, where I saw a posting, I was able to find out who the individual was, and through there I was able to obtain a part-time position, as an instructor. So that's networking 101. That's exactly how that works. So
You were able to write a book on that.
yes.
And the book is Network Your Way to Success: 10 Steps to Building Relationships and Expanding Your Business for Entrepreneurs and for Working Professionals. Did you give us the 10 tips, or did I miss something?
I gave you 1 or 2. The other 8 you're gonna have to buy. But it's a cool book. It talks about some of the strategies that could work on site and online. For example, the first couple of chapters talks about using the FORM method, right? So FORM stands for family, occupation, recreation, and motivation. So how do you connect from family? So if you're in an event or even virtually, 2 individuals that could have siblings or married or have kids. So there's you're finding that common ground when it comes to creating a rapport. Occupation, it could be 2 individuals in the same field. And you could have that common ground because you guys been through the schooling, been through the internship or externship, and been through that process. Recreation, it could be similar to 2 individuals who love sports or love fitness and make that connection that way. And motivation, it's a tricky one, but what I mean by tricky is just you ask the question is what motivates you. So everyone is motivated by different things. It could be money, it could be religion, it could be family. As long as you ask that question, you could kind of find that common ground as well. So it's important. In today's day and age, is about building relationships and building trust. In order to build trust, then you're able to we're in business for one reason, and it's not just to make a sale, is to solve the problem. So the goal is to solve the problem. So what problem can you solve?
In something that happens in the business world, if people look at you, if they see how you are, how you conduct yourself, if they cannot trust you, they will not do business with you.
Correct.
And that's just the bottom line.
Correct.
So what are the ways that people could get trust from you? How can someone just build trust? How does that work?
That comes over time, and that comes off I do a lot of volunteerism. I'm the executive vice president for Prosponica and the New Jersey chapter. So everyone knows that I'm not selfish and I'm not just, it's not just about revenue or expenses and net profit. Also, I'm big on giving back to the community, giving back to the Hispanic community. And with Prosponica, the mission is to help with Hispanic scholarships and connecting Hispanics into the C-suite and also helping with professional development. So now they build trust, or they trust me because they know that I'm not just in it just for a profit. I'm in because I care, and I care about the Hispanic community a great deal. Um, so hopefully that's how you build trust. You build trust over time, and over time, and over different things that you do, or different initiatives that you do, and by putting yourself out there. See, it's not just about money for me; it's about helping the Hispanic community. That's how I build trust. That's how I would build trust through volunteerism and giving back, whether it's through walks through American Cancer Society, for example, or volunteer professionally through or an organization such as Prosponica, where you're able to give back. And on top of that, the caveat is you're expanding your network. I'm in touch with people now from LA, from Texas, from Arizona, from Miami, from Florida. So my network is not just locally here; it's national, just on the Prosponica side, and international because they have uh, subsidiary chapters in Puerto Rico as well. So that's how you build trust. That's how you build relationships.
I wish that everyone watching right now could be able to take this instrumental information provided by Dr. Borja, take it with you. We are able to be out there, network virtually. I know that it's kind of hard when you're behind a computer, but people are always watching. So that's knowing who you are as a brand, positioning yourself as a brand. It's another way to look at it, right? Now, can the brand be trustful? Can the brand speak for itself? And that's what employers look for.
Yeah.
Can they trust you? Can you behave, right?
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Dr. Borja, for providing all this information. We thank you. Where can people contact you?
Sure. By email, Jairo at borjaconsultinggroup.com, or they could contact me by phone. My office number is 609-755-5796.
Thank you so much, Dr. Borja, for joining us. I wish you and your family the best. Please stay safe.
Thank you. You as well. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Please be sure to follow us on Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, and YouTube accounts at Bella Fashionistas and our media partner at BronxNet TV. To watch more of our programming, please visit us at www.bellafashionistas.com and our media partner at www.bronxnet.org. Take care and have a great day.